Well, hey, friends. Hey, friends. For those of you who are new to my tribe, welcome to the coaching community. Hashtag Let's Go Live. So, my name is Andrika J. Austin. I go by Coach AJ for short. I'm happy to be here with you today to tell you how I went from a divorce and the death of my mom on the same day to dropping out of college, dealing with homelessness, the downsizing of my corporate career, all the way to deciding, you know what, it's time for me to take my own financial future into my own hands. So I dedicated myself to the life coaching industry, learning everything there is to know. I actually was determined to make this work. And so I designed a curriculum that trains and certified life coaches all over the world, online, in one day. And I've developed a very successful coaching company by staying disciplined, writing 15 books, and showing up online for people like you who are ready for their next level. AJ, how do I do this? How can I become a successful life coach? Make the money that I want to make, do what I want to do in the world, show up and serve my people. How can I do it? Well, welcome. You're in the right place. If you are a coach or an aspiring coach and you meet the following qualifications that I'm about to share with you about who I serve, and I want to help you to determine who you serve, because if you watch my stories here on Facebook Live and Facebook itself, that is, I share behind the scenes. And so today I was sharing from my notes from a 2-hour coaching call that I had with my coach on yesterday. And it was one page, then it became two, then it was back to back to back to back. Now, if the quality of this audio is shifting, just know what I call the coaching closet. Aren't the acoustics so much better in here? I'm so excited. So I have my Blue Yeti mic. It's not attached to my phone, but I am using that for some upcoming training. So you'll definitely get to hear the changing quality sound. So what you see in the picture of this audio is the lifecoachinaday.com new website. If you want to get information about how to stay connected with me, how to become a part of my tribe, how to grow with me, how to find out what I have going on, I've been having several of those conversations in the inbox. Start with my free gift to you over at thelifecoachquiz.com. That's www.thelifecoachquiz.com. And find out if life coaching is in your future. Take the quiz, let me know what you get, what your score is, and then come back and share it with us. Because when you get certified with me in the one-day life coach certification training, this is one of your options for when you go live and how you can show up with your new certified life coach life mug. Lifecoachinaday.com is where to find out all the information about my upcoming one-day life coach certification training. So hashtag get like me. And shouts out to Coach Camille, coach number 0111. She know who she is. She'll listen to this replay. Hey, girl. She was the inspiration behind this coffee mug. She's like, AJ, we need coffee mugs. And I said, ooh, that will be perfect for going live. So this is me giving you a living, breathing example of how to go live with this coffee mug in your hand without even being on camera. Camille. Okay. So one thing my coach, his name is Eric, he taught me how to do was to figure out the commonalities of the people that I serve. And so for you guys, the commonality, bought a book from me. If you've ever my trainings, if you've ever even come to a free event that I've done, then you know that when you come on camera with me, or and if it's online, we'll stick with online for now because that's where everybody is, right? Then you know that you see me online with, it look like me and you. What does that mean, AJ? Well, so glad you asked. For me, that means that I serve a population of other African American women. You guys are usually, and I say you guys because I have not hit this age bracket just yet, but usually between the ages of 45 and 55. So about a 10-year difference, but that's one generation. Remember when I said, I don't know if you guys have ever heard me say this, but I say it as often as I can remember with my closes on my lives and things like that. When you impact one life, you impact generations. And so I serve a generation. Generations are usually about 10 years. So, for example, I have a younger brother. I have two brothers, but my younger brother and I are about 9 years apart. And you can tell a complete generational shift. He caught about a year of my generation, and then his whole new generation started. And so generations are about 10 years apart or so. And so I serve a generation of women, 45 to 55, that 10-year, one generation gap. And these are women who are hard workers. You guys believe in family. You believe in loyalty. You believe in sticking to what you do. You have a certain expectation of yourself, a certain expectation of your family. You were raised a certain way. Usually your parents are from the baby boomer generation, and you have these characteristics, qualities, life skills instilled in you of being a good mom, being a good wife, showing up as best you can, giving it your all, being successful, keeping yourself looking a certain way. My mom, she was a baby boomer, and she taught me that you don't leave the house without your hair combed. She used to say, Andrika, make sure you iron your clothes before you leave. Don't embarrass the family, pretty much. So you as one person represented your entire household, right? How many of you guys can relate to that? Let me see some emojis. Hey, Coach Sia, thank you for joining. I'm not just talking to myself now. So we're from this generation. Now I say we because I look like you. I'm including myself in this. So my clients are who I serve. They're African American, they are women, and they're a part of the generation, the 45 to 55, 10-year gap generation. Remember, again, a generation is about 10 years. So I serve a generation of African American women. And we were raised by, I'm going to use my mom as an example, strong, Black, independent, leader, self-starter, pusher, disciplinarian, believer in the skills and qualities of her children, knowing that, I'm doing my best to raise them right. You represent the family. You show up with all you got. So for me, I would stay on punishment a lot, y'all, believe it or not. So this quarantine ain't Nathan. I spent most of my childhood in my room by myself reading books. And now look what I get paid to do. Sit in my room by myself reading books and teaching what I learned. Thanks, Mom. But I got in trouble a lot for talking. Not talking back. I wasn't that crazy. But talking in class. I got the report cards to prove it. Unsatisfactory. Thanks, Miss Fogg and Miss Hubble. Andrika talks too much. But now Andrika is a paid speaker. So I think that's so funny. I told my coach I'm going to go find my kindergarten teacher, Miss Fogg, and show her where I am now. She used to say, Andrika, put your thumb in your mouth. That means stop talking. Do some self-soothing. Sit and suck your thumb so you can quit talking in class. But anyway, I digress. And so my mom raised us to be leaders. I would get in trouble for being a follower. I stayed on punishment from talking too much in class. And so we were taught discipline. This is how you discipline your time, your mind, your hands. Keep yourself busy. Keep learning a skill. Keep learning something new. Write a book report on what you learn. So much so that I was out of about 100 kids in my neighborhood. At 8 years old, I was featured on CNN, you guys, as reading 80 books over the summer. I got paid, I think it was $1 a book, and I was featured in the newspaper, and I got to stand in front of the community of kids and adult leaders like the superintendent of the school and the landlord and leasing agents for our community and cameramen, and feature with Newt Gingrich. I think he was he was a big deal here in Georgia as a politician. And some more people who represented the African American community. But I was this little nerdy Black girl reading books over the summer, making money from reading. So that was probably my first paid gig, if I think about it, right? I got to find that article so I can show that to you guys. And so that was thanks to my mom teaching me how to discipline my mind, starting to discipline my mouth because I didn't have anybody to talk to other than my dolls. I taught my dolls what I learned. So Latoya, she was my Black Cabbage Patch doll. Thank you, girl. So I shared what I knew. And so because of all that, that's coming back to me now. I remember, that all came from my mom, who was from a generation of hard workers, of, you not necessarily are not heard, but make sure when you show up intelligently. You show people who you are intellectually. Hey, Lavender. And so let me tell you guys more about who I serve, because who I serve is you. And I want to help you figure out who you serve as well in this much detail. And so again, this came out when I was talking to my coach for 2 hours on the phone. And he, at the end, we had like 10 minutes left. He's like, okay, Jay, I got 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, why you telling me? We gonna keep talking now. So it was a really good conversation where the more we talked, the more came out of me. And he asked some really good questions that pull this out. And so he said, AJ, what's the commonality of the women that you serve? That is a really good way to ask, who's your target market? And I already shared with you guys about, the target market and how to find them, all that good stuff. So this one was going deeper. So again, who I serve are African-American women in that generational age range of 45 to 55. You guys also follow other coaches. I can't tell you how many of the women that I've certified out of 120 life coaches around the world who have called me to say, AJ, do you know about this new book about life coaching? Have you heard of this new coach? Yeah, I follow her. Y'all send me screenshots of other people's lives. Y'all tell me what other people are doing, trainings they're coming up. One lady that came to a live event here in Atlanta with me a couple months ago, she sent me this email saying, AJ, did you train this person? Because they're in the life coaching industry. And so now it's like, I'm like the life coach representative for Black people. So it's like, if they hear the word life coach, they instantly affiliate me with another person. And so I think that's phenomenal, because you guys follow other coaches. You're seeing what's going on in the industry. You see how it applies to you. And by the way, if you're not a coach and you're aspiring to be a coach, I got a free quiz over at www.thelifecoachquiz.com. Thanks to my coach E for pushing me to get that. We were in a competition. He almost bought it, so I would have to buy it from him, this domain, on yesterday. He's like, AJ, you got to quit it with the bit.ly links. You got to get the website. So I got the website, Coach E. I beat him. Like, I distracted him while I went and buy it. And I bought it. TheLifeCoachQuiz.com takes you right to the free life coach quiz to see if you're a life coach, if you're on track to become a life coach, if you need more training, or if you're ready to join us for the upcoming one-day life coach certification training, where I'll be sharing more information with you coming up about that. So back to you African-American woman, 45 to 55, follow other coaches. You also have been at a place where someone once told you, you know what? You would make a good life coach. See, did you ever hear that? You're such a good listener. You give such great advice. Oh my gosh, you should be a life coach. You will be perfect as a life coach, right? So y'all come to me recommended, or you've recommended yourself, where you're like, AJ, I've been coaching all my life. I just didn't know that's what it was called. Or I want to be like Ayanla. And you realize that life coaching, how I teach it, ain't about fixing nobody's life. You can't fix nobody's life. No. So we get educated, right? And so I don't create Ayanlas. I create yous. I create coaches. You're also, while you follow other coaches and people have told you you should become a coach, and Ayanla has inspired you to come get certified, you are already smart. You guys show up with these degrees. Y'all got these high-paying careers. You've been certified in something else or another. Some of y'all are already certified life coaches, but you want to come back through the life coach certification training with me during the one-day process, and I'm perfectly fine with it, because you're relaunching your brands. You're starting from scratch. You didn't give it all you had the first time, or this is like you're for real. Like, I'm ready to coach AJ. So you're officially ready to launch out, and you're like, tell me what to do, show me how to do it, and let's make it quick. Give me the Cliff Notes version. And so I give you what I know is absolutely vital for you growing your coaching company, getting out there, getting clients, telling people that you're a coach, you're ready to make money, you're looking for referrals, etc. And so you're already smart. You just want to know where to start, because again, you follow other coaches. You've been on YouTube. You've been on Google. You've been in, my phones are off, by the way, so hopefully they don't, let me make sure. I think this is the only one that's powered on, because y'all know when I say the G word, all four of them pop on like, how can I help? what is your question? And it's my Google voice is in Issa Rae's voice, so it's really entertaining. But anyway, you guys have already went to what another coach called Google University. You've went to YouTube University. You have went to Amazon and found books. You have followed other coaches. You have been on their lives. You have bought their products. You have been to their events, their conferences, their seminars, their telecalls. You know all there is to know about what everybody else is doing in the life coaching / coaching industry. And so when you call me, you are in such information overwhelmed that you're like, yeah, but where do I start? You know too much. Now you don't know how to compartmentalize all of this knowledge and how what you've learned applies to you and your next steps as a life coach. So you come to me when you're ready to know where to start. You're also like this spirit-led, heart-centered Christian woman. Like you know God, you believe in the Bible, you go to church, or at least you used to. You were raised in a church. You know right from wrong. You know that integrity, that heart tug when something ain't right. You have the spirit of discernment. You know what you're supposed to be doing, because you also know that what you're supposed to be doing, you have not been doing in your life. A lot of y'all come to me and say, God told me ... God showed me ... I'm ready to take the leap of faith ... I know I'm called to do this ... And so what that looks like is y'all come quoting scriptures and talking about ministry and prophecy and church and serving and helping other people and what you've done pretty much all your life to give back to your community. You're that Christian spirit-led woman. You're also looking to add income. And so while you may be working right now, you know, you're looking for your next. So you're going from now to next, and what's in between is me. You come get certified, you start planning for your next, and you start strategizing. You start writing out a plan for how you're going to do this, how you're going to be a successful life coach, how your intellectual, already smart, certified, degreed self as a woman entrepreneur, as an African-American woman entrepreneur between the ages of 45 to 55, who follows other coaches, who's been recommended as a coach, who know you're called to do this. You are starting to figure out where you want to start with this thing. You know that God is pulling you on your heart because you feel like, okay, I know I can do this. I'm called to serve. Now you're looking to add this as another revenue stream. And so you're planning your next steps, your next way of making money, your next way of making an impact, your next way of doing things. Hey, Corinthia. And so because you're planning your next, you know that all of this is tied together. How you'll give back, how you'll serve, how you'll make sure that you're staying in a form of ministry, in a form of giving, in a form of serving, in a form of helping, impacting lives. Is all of this making sense so far? Because I want to make sure I'm talking to my people. My people raise their hands. They self-select. They say, AJ, you are talking to me. How do you know this much about me? Girl, because I am you. Okay? So we're talking about who do you serve? And my coach brought this out of me yesterday. And lately when I learn stuff, I bring it to y'all like right away instead of sit on it. And so I was sharing this in my Facebook stories today. And I said, oh, this is too good just for a 24-hour video that disappears tomorrow this time. Let me go live. And so today's live is about who you serve. And I'm hoping that what I'm sharing is helping you to get clearer on who you serve, because who you serve usually looks like you. Usually. Now I say usually because when it comes to African-American women between the ages of 45 to 55, I qualify for 2 out of 3. I'm not in that age bracket, but my oldest client, y'all, has been 72 years old. And she was a white lady. Well, is a white lady. She's still here. We work together from time to time now. She is up and running and good to go. And she's like, AJ, I listen to you because you know what you're talking about. And so, am I describing you? Are you an African-American woman, ages 45 to 55? You follow other coaches here on social media. Like I said, you've been to their conferences, read their books, took their programs, etc. You have been told you would make a good coach. Even if you told yourself You are intellectual. You're smart. You know what you're doing. You just don't know where to start. You are a Christian woman. You're spirit-led. You're looking to add income in the form of life coaching, even if you got to start doing it part-time on the weekends, after hours, from your 9 to 5 on the side, all that. And you're big on giving back. You're big on serving. You're big on helping your community. Have I described you so far? Like, if that's not you, I invite you to click off right now, because the rest of this is really not going to apply to you if that ain't you. So let me see some emojis if I have just described you in one way or another since we've been on today. And let me see if I need to... This might be a part 2, because I got some good stuff on here, y'all. I took 2 pages of notes. Thank you, girl. I see you. I took 2 pages of notes yesterday, and half of that is just on who you are, meaning who I serve. So I'm going to share with y'all the first part, and then part 2 will come in a later live. So we've already talked about you, African-American woman, 45 to 55, follow other coaches, recommended to become a coach. You are intellectual. You want to know where to start. You are spirit-led, Christian. You're looking to add income. Thank you, Corinthia. I love you, girl. She's like, yes, you have described me. Let me tell you more about you, Corinthia. You ready? So not only are you looking to add income and you want to give back, you want to serve. Here's where my coach E, he just laughed because he's like, AJ, you know your people so well. I said, Eric, my people are married, or they have been married just as long. Let me give you an example. This is where I am you. So I was married for 5 years. I've been divorced longer than I was married. How many of you guys can relate to that? Either you're married right now and you've been married so long that y'all can finish each other's sentences and you're totally comfortable with like spending money and not even having to ask because you know what he's going to say. Or you are divorced and you've been divorced longer or as long as you were married. Like you've been there, done that. Or maybe even it's like common law marriage where y'all have lived together for so long. Y'all been together so long. Again, you finish each other's sentences. You know his responses or her. You know your spouse's responses like right away. Like you already know. Hey, Scott, Christopher Jackson. How are you and Julie? Hey, Chanel. And so I bring that up because to me, that's the same woman. Like either you have been married forever or you've been divorced for as long as you've been married. But either way, you've been there, done that. So you know that rope. Like you're not looking to elope anytime soon. Even some of you may have been married and divorced and maybe you're newly married again. But again, this is not your first rodeo. Like you're familiar with that world. Like that's me. I'm so good at knowing this about the people that I serve. I helped a lady with this at one of my coaches' events back in November. So we had just met this coach. He was doing a free 2-day event live here in Atlanta for people in the speaking industry or those interested in becoming speakers. And I've been a professional speaker for 20 years, but I love being around other speakers, other like minds, knowledge seekers. And so I went to this free event at a hotel in Atlanta for 2 days. Met a lady that I thought was working with the coach who hosted this event. We went to dinner afterwards and I discovered she wasn't working with him, but she was just interested as I was. So we started talking and we were talking about who this guy was. Why is he doing this free 2-day event? Why is he giving us all this really good information for free? Like, what's the catch? What's behind all of this? And so the deeper in conversation we got, she says, you know, he's married and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, he's not married. And that's where the conversation got interesting because then we turned it into a discussion and then a dare, like a challenge. And I said, I can guarantee you he's not married. Now, again, we didn't know this guy. We had both just met him that day for this 2-day event. This was day 1. So we still had to come back the next day. And I knew he wasn't married. I said, listen to how he tells his story. Because there's a part of his presentation where he shows a picture. He has twins. And he shows a picture of his twins, his wife, and he never mentioned her name. He never mentioned his wife's name. He never mentioned how in love they are and the pregnancy experience of having twins. He never told the love story of them. And he didn't have a ring on, and I noticed that. But this other lady, JP, she was so like, no, AJ, he's married. I was like, no, he's not, JP, watch. So day 2, we went back. Come to find out, when he started talking about family again, he said something, divorced. And JP slowly, she was sitting in front of me. We were right behind each other. And she slowly turned around and made eye contact with me and mouthed the words, "You were right." And I'm like mouthing back, "I know." So I say that because I can notice where a person is in their relationship status, male or female, especially my target audience of African American women. I know what it's like to be married, to be divorced, to be in that in-between stage, to try it again, to spend some time by yourself. So all of this comes up in my target market because I can tell where you are relationship-wise, just based on your demeanor, how you share your story, how you talk about your spouse or ex-spouse. It comes out. And I'm going to tell you the relevance of all of this in part 2 when I come back and do another live, finishing telling you who you are, because you are who I serve, and where that relationship status comes into place. Hey, Estella. And so back to who you are as that married and or divorced woman. You also have kids, but they're not babies. Like, you are not a new mom. Again, just like you're not new to relationship and marriage or divorce, you're not new to being a mom. Your kids are preteen. They are maybe even approaching preteen. You're almost into that empty nest syndrome phase. And so that's why you are scurrying the plans of, oh my gosh, my child is going to be 18 soon. He or she may move out, or they may move out soon. What am I going to do by myself in this house? It could be that it's just you. It could be just you and your husband. You're like, what are we going to do next? What is my next? And so not only are you planning for what comes next after your corporate career, you're planning for what comes next after the kids leave the house. After you have free time now, you can really work this side hustle or this business that you call life coaching. And so you're ready to start planning that phase, that family phase for yourself. Where is life coaching going to come into play with you being a newly certified life coach, you running a successful life coaching company, you impacting lives, and you being that coach that you've been called to be? Where does that fit? And then maybe you're even like that woman who has been doing what you currently do forever. Like how I said, I've been a professional speaker for 20 years. You may have been on your job for 10 or more years, or you may have been in that industry for 10 or more years. You might have been at different jobs, but in that same industry or that same career for all this time, right? And so let's say it's financing or education, or I meet a lot of people that have been in the social work space for years, caseworkers, case managers. Hey, ballapreneur. And so you guys have been dedicated to a specific industry. That's why you're called to serve, and it's pulling on your heart because you've been serving in your careers. But now you're getting close to, okay, what's next? Is retirement next? Again, that 45 to 55 age range is helping you to start planning that empty nest / retirement phase of what's next. Okay. And so you have this thing that I told Eric about yesterday called the Black Woman Net. Now, again, my clients, for the most part, except the 72-year-old, have been African American women who are planning their next phase. After the kids leave, after retirement, what's next, right? But there's this thing called the Black Woman Net, N-E-T. And I came up with this as I was talking to my coach yesterday. And I said, Eric, as a Black woman, I can speak from experience. Now, y'all have different experiences than I do because, again, you have kids. Some of y'all are still married. You have like these big responsibilities. I just got rid of most of all of my big responsibilities in the last 2 years. So, and I say that in the form of like house. I don't have a car note. I'm back to renting again, which I'm really excited about because that means I don't have to pay to fix anything. It's factored in rent, right? And so no major super duper commitments, no kids, single, all that good stuff, right? And so I share that because there's this thing called the Black Woman Net when I'm going to speak for you. So let's say you're a Black woman, you meet everything I just described, and you're wondering, when you're going to launch a coaching company, but you have a family. Usually that family looks like, you think about your kids first because, okay, if you're married, your husband's going to be good. The kids, they depend on you. How can I still show up for my kids? There's this thing called the Black Woman Net where we won't release what we have, like a job. We won't release like child support. We won't release alimony. We won't release just any type of steady paycheck from another source until we have another net that's going to catch us. So let's say that maybe you get a severance check. Maybe you get a pension check. Maybe you get a disability check. Maybe you get help from your parents with money or childcare or living expenses. You will not walk away from any of that until you have another net, that Black woman net, that's going to catch you, that's guaranteed, because you got to be good, your kids got to be good, and you got to have that something else to catch you. And so what that means is you need an assurance of this coaching business has to work. Me working for myself has to work. This has to catch me if I let go of another net. And the in-between is most of you will never let go of your other nets. I heard another master life coach trainer say 90% of the people who inquire about becoming a coach will never become a coach. And that translates to the women I serve, because as Black women, when you have kids depending on you, when you have you being the head of the household and the leading main income, you are terrified to let go of that net. You got to have that Black woman net, meaning what's going to take care of me. And so that's even the reason that a lot of Black women stay in certain relationships for the kids, to make sure the money come in, because the money is attached in some kind of way to that relationship and their kids and their survival. You maybe even be that mom like my mom was, where you don't have to look good, but your kids are going to look good. Like, even if you don't look good, your kids are good. You're going to make sure they have, whether it's clothes, shoes, definitely food, a roof over their head. They're safe. They got medical access. Like, you have to have all of that in the bank, if you will. And so that's how my mom was. You know, Black women are like, they will starve. You guys will starve in order for your kids to eat, right? And so you take that stuff very, very seriously with taking care of your family. So that's why, you know, before you make that leap of faith, before you put into action everything you know, you kind of need a guarantee that you becoming a certified life coach is going to work. But no one can give you that guarantee but you. That's for another live. I won't go there. But anyway, I told my coach, and I'll finish this in part 2 of this training, because that's what this has become, that I feel like for Black women, becoming a certified life coach is right up there with hair care. Now, while you will let your kids, you know, eat before you, look good before you, you still don't forget about you. So like, even for this quarantine, when they shut us down and they're like, oh, only the essentials. I said, well, beauty for Black women, like not even beauty, our hair is essential. Y'all seen Madam C.J. Walker's story, right? Hair care for Black women, to me, in my opinion, y'all let me know if y'all agree, is essential. Like, when you get your hair done, y'all know what I'm talking about. This was on Oprah years ago, and she was trying to explain this to a white person trying to help a Black woman get her finances in order, telling her to take out her hair care. And Oprah's like, no, yeah, that's not how that worked in the Black community for Black women. But I am a coach, and my life coach certification in that process is right up there with hair care, because for me, it's all about image to you guys. So hair care is about image, because our hair, when it's good, we feel like we look good. And then we also feel good. We act different. We show up different when that hair is done, right? We want to do videos and photo shoots and talk to people, leave our house, risk corona. You know, we're like, oh, somebody gonna see me today. That's where I am as a coach, as far as, you know, how Black women see me as a coach. So what that means is, for them, it's about image. How fascinating is it to be able to say, yeah, I'm a certified life coach. I trained with AJ. We did a 1-day life coach certification training. That's what I mean image-wise, because it looks good to say that you have a coach. It looks good and feels good to say that you've been certified as a coach. You show up differently when you know you have skills, professional qualifications, you've been trained, you financially invested in yourself, you mentally invested in yourself. As a life coach, you're not just calling yourself a coach. You have really dedicated yourself to the knowledge. Like I shared with you guys at the very beginning of today's live, you are dedicated and determined to growing as a coach. You are disciplined to sit and learn what you need, to put it in order and to see how it's going to apply to your next. You're ready to take the next steps. You're finally ready to launch. The kids are getting older. You are in a position where you only want what you can bring to the table. You've put everything aside and you're starting to plan for your next. That is the sign of a successful future life coach. So again, if you're interested in becoming a life coach, you want to join me for the one-day life coach certification training, start with my free gift to you. That's over at www.thelifecoachquiz. It's a free quiz. It's only 3 statements, not even questions, but depending on which statement you choose that applies directly to you, I'm going to tell you your next steps. It gives you your results right away, and it's going to tell you if you're ready to become a committed coach. Like, do you have the qualifications to become a committed coach? Meaning, it ain't about education. It ain't about what you've learned and studied and saw other people do or you've seen on TV. It's about you and where you are in your life with the characteristics that you know you have, because no one knows you like you, right? So regardless of where you are in life, regardless of what you've learned up to this point, are you ready for your next steps in becoming a certified life coach? If so, depending on your results, you will get an invitation to join me in our one-day life coach certification training. Now, anybody can go to lifecoachinaday.com to find out how I do what I do, what we do during the trainings, and what you'll learn. But you have to have an invitation to actually join us for the training. It's an application process. Like, are you qualified? If not, I'll also show you in your instant results in the quiz over at www.thelifecoachquiz.com what your next step should be if you're not quite ready to launch as a life coach. So make sure you go there, get my free gift to you, fill out the information. It takes less. It's like a 2-minute quiz. I need to time how quick it is. It wouldn't be fair though, because I set it up so I know exactly where to go. But listen, it takes less than 2-3 minutes. Okay. Go click the answer that applies to you. Find out if you're ready for your next step. Let me know if you have questions, because if you're listening to this, we're probably connected on social media somewhere like Facebook, because this is where this video starts out, right? It ends up on YouTube and then my blog. But if we're not connected on social media, I'm Master Life Coach Trainer AJ Austin on Facebook, which is where I'm most active. And you can let me know what questions you have about the one-day training that's coming up. Let me know what questions you have about anything that I've shared about who you are, because you are who I serve. And then if you need help with getting clarity about who you serve, I have opportunities for that as well. So, some of you have been on and off. Some of you have listened the entire time. I want to say thank you. I'm in my closet where acoustics change. I have my Blue Yeti mic, which I've had for years. I just ordered a new, and so I'm going to be playing around with that some of my future training. So if you're like, ooh, AJ, it sounds really good, you can tell when I'm in my, I'm one of those fan with the air conditioner on type people. So you can hear the fan blowing in the back. You can hear when I'm in the bathroom with the fan going in the bathroom, because my bathroom is my favorite place in my house. I have a vanity, so I usually sit at the vanity and go live sometimes. I got clothes. I got the acoustics. I got to get one more missing link, and you will think I'm in a professional studio, okay? So, yes, Corinthia, I figured it was you or Sia who has been on here, that one person the entire time. I love when y'all show up and add to the discussion. Corinthia, ask me one question before I go. What's one question that I could answer for you about anything that I've shared today? I know you said earlier, yes, you are describing me, AJ. Did I describe you more? What question can I answer for you? Because I know you're a future life coach. Very, very soon, we know that you're on the right path, girl. So what questions can I answer for you? By the way, you guys, meaning those who listen to the replay and Corinthia, on next week, April 16th, I will be hosting a Facebook Live as a part of a group of other entrepreneurs I'm a part of. Some of you guys may be in this group. I won't tell you where it is just yet, but I want to invite you to join me. So make sure your notifications are on, because if I do this right, I will be live potentially on Instagram, on Facebook here on my page, as well as like a watch party type thing in the group, and on Zoom. So that's a lot to set up. So y'all please pray for your coach, okay? Because that means everything has to be charged, Wi-Fi and the internet has to be right. And yeah, it'll go smooth. So these are the joys of online trainings. Welcome to my world. All right. So Corinthia's question. Let me get some water, girl, because you be asking some deep questions. Hold on. Okay. Thank you for your question, Corinthia. She says, should I register my coaching LLC in St. Louis or when I move to Atlanta, Georgia in June? First of all, welcome to Atlanta. You know I am Miss Atlanta. Second of all, it doesn't matter. I'm going to speak on behalf of Georgia law that I know for small business owners. At this point, I'm only familiar with getting registered in Georgia. So let me tell you how it works here. And you can do this where you are. Hi, Zachary. You can do this online with the Georgia Secretary of State and go ahead and register. But just when you move, like how I moved in the last 2 months or so, make sure they have your updated address on file. So you can go get registered as an LLC like right now. That means right now in Atlanta. Okay. And then, yeah, just keep your address updated on file so that when it's time to renew your LLC, they know where to send the papers. So, make sure they have your forwarding address is what I'm saying. So if you register and you live in St. Louis right now, you're coming to Atlanta, you're going to have to do a change of address anyway if you want to get your mail here. So same thing for LLC. And you can go on and make sure that your information is updated, because when people do a search on you, it'll show your current address. It'll show you as the registered agent or the person who applied for the LLC papers. So yeah, it really does not too much matter where you are when you register, in my experience. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on Facebook Live, but this is my experience living here in Atlanta, having recently registered the International Center for Life Coach Training as an LLC back in January. And knowing what that process is like, plus moving since I got approved with my LLC, and making sure just everyone, like when I say Corinthia, I literally sat in my car, social distancing, a couple weeks ago, and filled out 12 address change forms on behalf of myself, my business, every name I go by, and I filled out 12 change of address forms for myself and my business based on me having sold, and still doesn't go there because they're like, why is our mail still coming here? Forwarding everything to my business office, downsizing from the business office, moving twice. This is all over the last 2 years. So I have been familiar with this process for years now, of how it works when you change locations, and making sure that that business forwarding address follows you, regardless of where you're registered as an LLC. So hopefully this was helpful. I know it's a lot, but it's not really a lot. Just go on the Georgia Secretary of State. I think it's $150 and keep them posted on where you move to. And if you're smart, which I know you are, because you're the you already have so whether you are moving your business location to an office here in Atlanta, a co-work space here in Atlanta, where most co-work spaces that I'm familiar with here in Atlanta will let you have the option to get your business mail there, or whether you're getting like a P.O. box like I have, you already know where you want to forward your business information to. It's a fairly simple process. And again, I just set all of this up within the last 2 months for my business with having relocated. P.O. box. I just started getting mail at the P.O. box. I'm so excited. Like, oh, I got mail. getting mail. Only thing I don't like is I have to get up, leave the house 5 minutes away. But the point. And then, yeah, I love when I get there. And so they have like, the 6 month. So yeah, you can get set up professionally and then let the Georgia Secretary of State know where to send your LLC related. The only thing they send is when it's new. I did get something in the mail from another organization that I got to do some searching on. That LLC, but I've never heard of it. Talk about it here until I find out. Anyway, in my experience, that's all that it takes. That was a really good question. Thank you for answering it or asking it. And you said that my answer helped. So I'm so glad to know that. So I'm tired now. I shall return to my lair to continue working on my master plan of talking to you, who you are. I'll be back for part 2, where I'm telling you more about who you are, but on a social level. Like, I even know my target market and who I serve, what their social life looks like. So we'll pick up from there on part 2 of this training. Again, make sure, if you want to know what your next steps are as a life coach, you take the free quiz over at www.thelifecoachquiz.com. So we'll talk more about who you are as a future life coach on our next live, because again, I've studied you. I know who you are. But not because I'm stalking you, because I am you. And I've been where you are. So stay tuned. Make sure your notifications are turned on. You should have got an invitation to turn on your notifications or to follow me as soon as you jumped on this live, especially if it was your first time with us. But Corinthia, we know you're a pro, so you ain't got to worry about that, right? So until we meet again, my friends, remember, there is someone somewhere. They are waiting on you to discover who they are, who you serve. Walk in your destiny as a certified life coach. Allow other people to walk into theirs, because when you let your light shine as a life coach, you give others permission to do the same. Also remember, when you impact one life, you impact generations, because you're a part of that generation that I serve. That's how I know that. Until we meet again, my friends, you guys have a phenomenal day. God bless. Bye, y'all.